Thanks for joining us on Lina TV News. My name is Saline Moses Alkali. First, the headlines. The former Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari has been laid to rest in Daura, his ancestral home, amidst tears and multitude of mourners across the country. Nigerian First Lady Remi Tinubu consoles the widow of the late former President Buhari. Tunde Bakari pays tribute to late Buhari, says President Buhari was far from being a religious fundamentalist. And now the news in details. The cloud over Daura was heavily laden with grief, sadness and mixed emotions on Tuesday. The sombre cloud later shed tears, soaking the soil of the rustic town in Katsina State, as friends and family members laid the remains of former President Muhammadu Buhari to rest in the agrarian community. It was a solemn moment as the lifeless body of the 82-year-old was brought out of a casket draped in sparkling green Nigerian colors and lowered into the earth at exactly 5:50 p.m. in the presence of grieving children, family members, and associates. Full military honors and other accompanied, such as gun salutes and tuneful processions befitting a former commander-in-chief of the armed forces, were accorded to Buhari. Islamic rites also preceded the interment of the former Nigerian leader in Daura. Beyond being the final resting place of the general-turned-statesman, Daura, a small agrarian town in northwest Nigeria, was also the birthplace of the man known by millions of his cult-like northern followers as the Mai Gaskiya in Hausa language, meaning the truth teller. Buhari was more than a regional leader. He led Nigeria for a cumulative period of 9 years and 8 months, both as a military head of state and a democratically elected president, making him one of the longest-serving Nigerian leaders. Leading the roll call of mourners-in-chief was the former president's widow, Aisha Buhari, successor, President Bola Tinubu, his vice, Kashim Shettima, Buhari's former deputy, Yemi Oshibajo, former vice president Atiku Abubakar, billionaire businessman Aliko Dangote, serving and former governors, ministers, first-class traditional rulers, religious leaders, among others. Nigeria's First Lady Remi Tinubu was among those who attended the burial of former President Muhammadu Buhari in Daura. She was spotted consoling a grieving Aisha Buhari, the wife of the late president. Mrs. Tinubu arrived at the Umaru Yar'Adua International Airport in Katsina, where she met with Aisha and other family members of the late Nigerian leader. The First Lady was accompanied by the wives of the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the Deputy Senate President, Fatima Abbas and Hajia Leila Barrow, respectively. Also in her entourage was the wife of the National Security Advisor, Zara Ribado, among others. The serving overseer of the Citadel Global Community Church, Pastor Tunde Bakari, says the late former President Muhammadu Buhari was far from being a religious fundamentalist, contrary to accusations. Bakari, who was Buhari's running mate in 2011 presidential election, said he only began to see the former Nigerian leader who died in London on Sunday differently when he got closer to him. I thought he was a religious fundamentalist until I came close, Bakari said on Channels Television's Politics Today on Monday. The former presidential aspirant narrated an encounter which changed his perception of the former dictator. After the flag-off of our campaign in Kaduna, he said, "We rode in the same car. We got home to his place. The next word he spoke, 'God is my witness,' he said, 'Jesus Christ of Nazareth.' And I said, 'General, what is that?' He said, 'You do not have the monopoly of Jesus Christ. I'm thanking God.' He just said that, and then I found out that the bodyguards were all Christians. Not only that, his driver of 10 years asked me to pray with him, and I said, 'I don't pray Islamic prayers,' and he said, 'I'm a Christian, sir.'" Bakare said that Buhari never tampered with his Christian faith in any form all the days of their campaign together, but allowed him to go to church on Sundays and before going for campaigns. He described Buhari as a man of few words, but of decisive action, saying that once he was convinced you had the right point, he would immediately prove it. And that's the much we can take on Lina TV News today. Do well to join us on all our social media platforms, or you can visit our website on www.linatv.com.ng. Thanks for staying tuned.